Hi there. Welcome to the inaugural episode of K-Man's Corner. I am attorney and coach Kimberly Mansfield, and I will be your host. This is my segment. It's going to run weekly, and we are going to have frank talk about touchy topics and in divorce custody, like what's not a touchy topic. And really, it's going to center around how to bring your A game. How to bring your A game when everything is so freaking nerve-wracking, when so much is on the line, and when how you show up matters. Well, we're going to talk about that. And trust me when I say, one, you're not alone. If any of that rings a bell with you, that is totally normal, totally human. I hear it from my clients all the time. To be nervous about these things, they hate these things. They get very, let's just use the word nervous, horrified, petrified, terrified, not just for appearances in court, but also if they're meeting with a guardian ad litem or they're meeting with even a mediator or a custody evaluator, or they have to have a conversation with opposing counsel if I'm just coming alongside to coach, so I'm not doing the interactions. They're really nerve-wracking, but you know what? With a few tactics, tools, step-by-step routines that they put in place to kind of get access to their whole self, to bring the system into alignment, to be able to be really present, they feel better and they're more effective. I'll tell you what, as an attorney, if my clients are taking steps to show up prepped, confident, presentable, self-regulated, they're my best client. I can do my best work when my clients show up that way. And if you're representing yourself, you will do your best work when your client, yourself, shows up that way. You will have more access to the really meaningful parts of your brain, the parts that are creative, that think comprehensively, that have a broad view, that can assimilate information, that can think, that can reason. Notice I didn't say in any there that can react. We're going to get rid of the reactive parts and get you really sturdy in the present, competent, confident parts. And whether you're represented or you are representing yourself, you'll be in the A game, okay? Because you are your best case. Okay, notice I didn't say the best case. The case is going to be the facts, the stuff, the documents, the evidence, all that. I think it's really, really underemphasized how important the individuals who inhabit the roles in the case, so the parties, the moms, the dads, how they show up matters. Credibility is currency. And when you have taken steps to have maximum access to all your mind-body resources, so again, that focus, flexibility, calm mind, that's where credibility comes in, and plenty of good case has been lost on credibility. So this is worth the investment of time. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you some lists. I give it to all my clients. I'm going to give you some lists of some really easy, free, not necessarily time-consuming things to do that are going to make you feel like $1 million. My clients say that once they kind of start doing them and they habituate them, so they'll do them before mediation, they'll do them before, again, they have to meet with, say, the child's attorney, they will do them anytime a situation, an important situation, that's when we get tense, right? When an important situation comes up, they'll do these preps and now they're kind of addicted. It's pretty compelling because they know how icky it feels when they don't. And when they don't do preparations, they tend to afterwards think of things like, oh, I should have said this. Oh, I should have said that. Oh, I wish I'd made a note. I need to send an Or they have gaps in memory. It is very, very common, especially I find in person in court, well, probably on camera in court for clients also, to have gaps in memory. And yes, you can always pull the transcript or get an audio copy of that proceeding and make sure that you remember everything. And if a client has any question about that, I always have them pull audio. It's one of the cheapest, best things you can do if you need to refresh on the context of what was said, specifically what was said, what you said. But the more present you are, the less that crops up. So we're going to work on that presence, and I'm going to give you some lists. We're going to talk about some lists to have a routine for, and it's going to start before. Your preparation starts before you walk in the door or you sign on the camera. So we're going to have a list for the day before your proceeding or meeting. We're going to have a list for the day of. And then you're going to have a list for how to set up and show up if you have to do a remote, so on camera from home. How do you do that? And I'll tell you what, you can do a really good job with near studio results with stuff you already have around. So I'm not going to make you run out and buy anything or spend anything or book extra hours into your day. You're going to have these at your fingertip. And at the end of my talk, I'll tell you where to find the link to a PDF that's going to be a workbook of the 3 checklists: day before, day of, and how to set up and show up on camera at home. So I know it sometimes I talk fast, but I'm going to assume that if you came to the trough, you're thirsty. So, and yeah, of course, you can always hit a rewind. The whole self human machine, why is this so important, first of all? Because when we're tense, and I'm a neuroscience geek, okay? Neuroscience, epigenetics, the biology of human relationships, all that stuff. Like, I love that geeky stuff. But you don't have to know. You don't even have to know what cortisol is. You don't have to know what IL-6 is. You don't have to know what the limbic system is. You don't need to know anything to know how it feels. How it feels is when we're white-knuckling things, when your jaw's clenched and you're grinding your teeth, when you've got that throbbing in your temples, when your cheeks flush, when you feel that of reaction that you almost can't catch. All of those things, the nervous system at work, when you feel like you're choked and you can't see straight or speak straight. We can tamp all that down. It just takes a little work, and it is not special to anyone, really. Anyone can do it. And how do I know this works? Well, once upon a time in a previous life of mine, I acted and directed and coached for about 10 years. And I've been coaching ever since. So at this point, I've watched it work with thousands of actors, executives, and litigants, and I use it for myself. I'm not asking anything of my clients that I don't ask of myself because I know it works. I mean, I do this stuff before every interview, or if I have to give a talk or a session, and you better believe I was doing it before I sat down here so that I could click in and so that I could think through things in my head. I don't like reading, script stuff. So keep it pretty loose. That's how it feels when you put this stuff to work. That's how it'll feel for you. And I'll tell you what, I'll bet you the price of a Starbucks, you never want to go back once you've experienced having full access to yourself. So, again, going to outline a routine for you for the day before, going to outline the day of, and we'll talk about how to set up your home studio. So, first of all, the day before. I'm going to say hydrate a whole bunch of times. You're going to get so sick of that word. So I'm just going to tell you straight up. The day before, hydrate. And you're going to hydrate all the way through the proceeding because your brain needs water and your body needs water. Stay hydrated. It's that important. In the early afternoon, the day before, cut off caffeine. And if you do it by noon, all the better, but cut off caffeine. Caffeine has a half-life of like 9 hours. So even any amount of caffeine stays in your system. I know you're used to it. I don't want to give you a migraine or anything like that, but cut off caffeine earlier than you normally would so that you have a little better shot at getting some sleep. Do a decent dinner. Skip sugar. Try to finish up early, get some protein, healthy fats, and a little bit of carbs, but have something decent, even if your stomach's a little bit in knots. Go for a walk. For any of us, anytime, the best possible thing we can do after a meal is go for a 15-minute walk. So do it. I would say even, minimally go for a walk. Get some movement, whatever that is to you. Go shoot hoops. I don't know. Go to the driving range. Go for a swim. Go for a bike. Do some yoga. I'm not meaning to wind you up, but we don't want to expend a little bit of energy. Okay, because the adrenal system's going to be working overtime most likely, or it is most of the time for my clients. It even is for me when I'm preparing for things. So I get it. Give a little outlet for yourself, even if it's just a walk around the block. Make sure the night before, lay out your clothes for your appearance. Whether it's on camera the next day or whether it's in court the next day or in an office or conference room or whatever, figure it out beforehand. Don't be fumbling for things that have a stain the next day, or that you can't find, or that need ironed. I mean, I'm not an ironer, but I have pulled things out and just been horrified. Like, I can't wear that. Even a non-ironer can't wear certain things. And remember, this probably goes without saying, but let me say, so no hats, no ripped jeans, preferably not jeans. I know some jeans can be very stylish with a nice shirt or whatever. Certainly no t-shirts, no logo statement t-shirts, that kind of stuff. Certainly no ripped t-shirts, no midriffs, low cuts. Think important interview. Some people say think church. I don't know what that means. The world's gotten really casual, right? People live their lives in jammies. So it's the relativity is a bit lost, but appearance matters. So if you're thinking about what your appearance is, makes a statement, what statement do you want the judge to take away? Okay. Appearance also feels to us. Like, we feel different. Our posture is different. We show up different when we're in different clothes. So find clothes that you feel confident, comfortable, authentic. Again, important interview, all right, that are appropriate, that are going to send the right statement. And get your documents ready the night before. If you're representing yourself, you're going to have a bunch of those. Discovery, trial binders, evidence, whatever. Get them ready. And even if you have an attorney, you may have documents that you yourself are bringing. So whether you're bringing them to court or whether you're going to have an on-camera appearance, get them ready the night before. Assemble the notebook. Use little tabs so you can flip rapidly to exactly what you need. And the magic, make sure you have a table of contents. So many well-meaning clients have been really assembled and then have started rifling through things who didn't have a table of contents to refer to and ended up moving, knocking tabs off pages, mixing up items. You just don't need that to tug at your brain. It's the last place your brain needs to be going. So assemble the documents, tab the pages, slap a table of contents on there, read over it a few times so that you have very go-to, okay? And put those documents next to your car keys. If you have to do it in person the next day, put them next to the car keys so that neither one of those things, one, are missing, and two, that there is not a chance that you can rush out the door and leave your documents at home. So, and obviously, if you're going to be on camera at home, then get all those documents in your space. Clear it off, make it organized. You don't want a lot of shuffling going on, especially on camera, because it's picked up. It's even louder on camera, I think, than in the courtroom. So, and if you are doing an on camera the next day, then do all of your equipment set up the night before. I do that. If I have a morning appearance, whether it's a talk or a Zoom or a meet and greet or a consult, I set everything up the night before. If I've got to go first thing in the morning, make sure things are plugged in, make sure that you don't need a mic. Okay, I'm going to get to the setup part later, but I'm just saying you don't need this, but I make sure that the right audio is plugged in the right places. Make sure if you're using earbuds, which if you're doing it on camera, I'm going to recommend you have earbuds, make sure they're charged, things like that. So do it the night before. This is not what you need to be futzing around with in the morning or right before you are to sign on. We're still in the day before. Take a warm bath or shower before you go to bed. It's really good for the body. It's really assistive of sleep. The body is much more conducive to sleep when it's in the cooling phase. So a warm shower, even better if it's a bath, before you go to bed is going to help that. Try to go to bed early. I mean, I'm not saying 8 o'clock, but try and get on time and try like heck to get off blue light at least an hour or two before you go to bed. Read a book. You know, the kind with pages that you actually turn. Really good for sleep. Do some writing. You know, some stream of consciousness. Again, offload some of whatever's swimming around. Meditate. Do a little yoga, a little stretching, a little qigong. I mean, you don't want to amp yourself up before sleep, but, you know, to dissipate some of that energy, always a good thing. So the next day, this is the day of your appearance. Make sure you get up with ample time. It seems so simple. The last thing you want to be doing is rushing. So you really want to allow yourself to sort of continue over that peaceful momentum. I should say peaceful because I know it's hard. I never ever want to diminish or dismiss the stress of these things. I hear it all the time from my clients. I completely understand where it comes from. But you don't have to be a puppet to it. Okay, you can exist alongside all of this nerve-wracking nonsense. We can put it in the passenger seat. You can be in the driver's seat and you can operate alongside of it. Way more resourced. So gift yourself that continuity from the day before to not rush in the morning. Give yourself time. Guess what you do first thing? Hydrate. My favorite word. Hydrate in the morning. First thing when you wake up. Breakfast gets hard. I'm not a real breakfast eater, but to eat something light, so I get it if you're not. And if you are, then kind of follow these same rules. Try and get some protein and some healthy fats going in, okay? Your brain needs water. It also needs healthy fats because that's mostly what it's made up of. So get some sustenance, some like real nutrition going in and stay away from the sugar to the extent you can. Okay? Not good. That's where you crash and burn. So that super duper mochaccino, whatever, blah, blah, yada, yada coffee is going to like shoot you up and drop you down. And that is not a recipe for an accessible, self-regulated brain. So now is the really fun part. At least for me, I think this is a really fun part. At least 1 hour before you're either departing for the court or before you're due on camera. For 1 hour, you're really, really going to pour yourself into freeing up the flow in the system. And what does that mean? You need access to, again, the broad vision, the awareness, the focus, the comprehensive creative thinking, all of that stuff, patience, understanding. Move, whether it's going for a walk again or whether it's getting on your bike or cranking the tunes and dancing around. Nobody's watching. Do it. Loosen up, free up, shake it out. Hum. Humming is one of my favorite things. Do you hum? I didn't know this. Well, I do now. I didn't know this when I was a kid because I've hummed since I was a kid. It's a form of self-soothing for one thing, but I didn't know how that worked until, of course, I became, a neurophysiology geek. Cool thing about humming, And I'm just talking, like get that real tickle going back here, right? Do some scales, hum a tune. You can do it in the shower. You can do it while you're dressing, while you're getting ready. Humming, that little jiggling back here massages the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve, you don't have to remember all this. It's the 10th cranial nerve, longest nerve in the body, only nerve that runs from the brain to the tailbone and goes through all our vital organs. So it's this information superhighway. And there's ways that if you can soothe and relax the vagus nerve, the whole body, it feels like all this dissipates. It doesn't mean you don't still have an energy. It doesn't mean you don't still know that you're a little ramped up, that there's a little adrenaline going. But it smooths things out. Hum in the car. Hum anytime you're like a little frustrated with things. Hum. And I call it hum and gum because I hate gum. Okay, I really don't like it. It sticks to my teeth. I don't like the flavor even. But gum loosens the jaw. So I hum and gum at the same time because you need to loosen the jaw. Think about it. When we tense up and our body constricts, it just stops everything. That flow of information, the flow of thoughts, the reasonableness. When you're like that, things are overwhelming. They are for me too. I have to break through and get that flow of information. Mine for me, and it can be in different places of your body. So kind of tune into it. Mine for me is right here. I just stop. It feels like nothing can go down and nothing can come up and everything's just at a stalemate. And the hum and gum, it's like magic. Find your magic. Find what works for you to get this flow of information going. Speak. Also, talk some words. Do it in the shower. Sing at the top of your lungs, do some wah and some jaw and get some of that going. Well, it's probably obvious, but how do I know all this works? Well, it's from 10 years of acting, directing, coaching, instructing, coaching executives. Like all of this works. You just have to put it to work. It works if you work it. All that gum, it's your license to chaw. Get it out before your appearance, okay? The last thing you want is for a judge to remind you that you didn't spit your gum out. I've never had a judge do that very kindly. So not to me and my clients. No, I have had opposing parties that it's not a good place to start. So spit the gum out. Again, you're going to dress. You're going to put on all those things, dress for your important interview or church or whatever vision of I feel good, I feel confident, I feel focused. Clothes make us feel ways. That's not a fashion thing. It's just a human thing. So don't diss it. Figure out what works for you. Back to the water. Check with a clerk. You can bring water bottles generally into court. Now, it used to be that we couldn't bring water bottles into court because before COVID, there were always pitchers on the table with those things. And it's going to vary by court and by state. But now, bringing concealed water bottles in so that if you really need a sip during the proceeding, you could. Everyone understands that your mouth can get really dry, especially when we're a little amped up. So bring it in, or then you can sip on break, or of course there's, again, fountains in courthouses. It's different places, right? But don't assume you can come slap your stuff or a cup with a straw or your, super duper mochaccino thing with your on that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And what I was telling as a shorthand, what I say to my clients the morning of, if there's nothing else you remember this. I want you slept, fed, watered, half-calfed, and have walked around the block before you walk in the building. Even if walking in the building is walking back in your home to sit down to be on camera. Slept, fed, watered, half-calfed, walk around the block. If you remember nothing else, those things are a little magic of their own. We're going to pick up on setting up a space and place for on-camera appearance at home. And I'll try to make this quick so that it doesn't happen again. First of all, the obvious. Good Wi-Fi. Make sure you have good Wi-Fi. Quiet. Get kid care just like you were if you were going to court. Get kid care, not in the space that you're in. All right? And not even preferably not adjacent to the space that you're going to be in. Make your place, wherever you're setting yourself up, desk, table, chair, whatever, comfortable but alert. So you don't want to be lounging back in the recliner-ish, sitting back away from your table, but you want to be comfortable so that you can maintain your focus. Because if you're uncomfortable, focus is a big, big challenge, and it's a distraction, and you will hear less of what's going on. So setting up, you want light in front of you. And I'm going to say whether you're using a laptop or an iPad or a phone. First of all, laptop or computer. I really recommend the laptop or computer. I really am opposed to, iPad is close, really opposed to phones because you can't see the people, the expressions. You can't see what's going on well enough. And when you dial down what you can see, you dial down what you can hear. You're losing context. So if you can not do phone, if you can borrow a computer or something for the proceeding, do it. Get something you can see, everyone. Okay, really. And check your settings beforehand. Do a test run if you can. Because, man, it never fails. I'm telling you, we've been doing this for, 4 years now? 4 years. And it never fails that I can do a meeting or a Zoom or something one day. And I'm telling you, I go to do them the next day, and either the browser has had an update, so I have to do a browser update, or the app or platform has had an update, so I have to do something to update to make sure all these systems get along again, even though it was just hours before I used it. So check beforehand. These are not the distractions, and these are not the nerve-wracking that you need to be dealing with. Prep. It's all about laying the groundwork. Get these obstacles out of your way. This is not where your energy needs to go. So back to the light. When you set up computer, make sure the light's in front of you. Don't have your window behind you. Figure out how to do that, okay? And you don't have to be in a window for light. I like light. Natural light is flattering for everyone. And I'm sitting in natural light right now, okay? If you don't have natural light, then at least try and figure out so that you don't have big shadows on your face. How do you get decent light on your face? Or if you have a window to the side, even a lamp, you don't have to have special lights. You can have a lamp to fill one side, which is what I do in the winter because the natural light isn't like this. Get the light in front. Don't have a window behind you. It makes it very hard to see your face, your eyes. All of that stuff goes to credibility. We need to be able to see you, okay? You want a simple background, okay, in your space. We're all in our home spaces. I'm in a home space. Try and keep it somewhat neutral. You want something that's not distracting, okay? Some people just pop pictures down off their walls if they're distracting. If they are not distracting and they're just, nice and complimentary, by all means, leave them there. It's better than really reflective, especially light-colored walls, bouncing back light into the camera. But check out your room and make a call. I'm just saying, think about it. Maybe you don't have to do anything. Maybe it's perfect. But check. Don't let anything, just cruise by you by accident that might be a distraction when you're on camera. Computer, you want your camera just a little lower than eye view. You can use, I have stands, but I got to tell you, there's always books on my desk, which is a table desk. And I always just throw books under to raise my laptop up. Book, stands, whatever works for you, get it there. Big thing. Make sure that you want your eyes at or above a third down from the top of your frame, okay? So kind of where I'm sitting now, countless court. You could go watch recordings from other courts that are doing remote proceedings, and you're going to see, I see this all the time, or this, or people are down here and they're picking things up, and this makes a difference. It makes a difference in your credibility. And the tricky thing about doing things on camera is you got to look in the camera, not at the people and yourself below the camera. So if I'm looking down here at the screen, or I'm looking at other people when I'm talking, I'm not communicating with the camera. And it takes a while to get used to that. So I have clients, what they do is they put a post-it like on the back of the computer, like right facing them, right behind like the camera, and a post-it that says, with an arrow that says, look here, and it reminds them. Or you can put a little picture of someone or a friend, right, stick it from the back of the, right behind the camera, so that it reminds you to look there when you're talking. Now, certainly when other people are talking, when the judge is talking or attorneys are talking, I mean, you're going to want to see what's going on. Then you do have to look at the screen. But your credibility skyrockets when you're dialed into the camera. And once you get used to it, it'll feel totally normal. Whereas at first, it's going to feel totally funky. So just know that. It'll come with time. Obviously, whether you're in court or on camera, and it's especially tricky on camera because you're not sitting in everybody's presence, to not talk over. So you got to be a little extra careful about that when you're doing remote appearances. Certainly in court, you're not going to talk over anyone, but it's easier to tell who's talking then. On camera, tough one. Now I'm to the earbuds. I really think that earbuds are good to use for many reasons. 1, I think that your sound is better. 2, I think you're going to hear a lot better. 3, I think that it helps focus a ton because it cuts out peripheral noises and just the background ambient things, even if they're not loud. It helps you focus. So earbuds, they don't have to be super expensive. I do think that you want to find some that have, I think that your voice quality in them needs to be even better than the quality that you hear. I find that having mediocre hearing in them, I still catch everything. But you really want to make sure that you've had phone conversations or you've been on a Zoom with someone and that you ask them, how does my voice sound? Okay, find that out because you want to be clear. Now, I'm not saying you can't just use the speakers on your computer. You can. Test them out beforehand. Test if it makes a difference, if you're a little closer or a little, how far away can you be that it's still very crisp and clear. You don't need a mic. I use a mic because I do interviews and I do talks and all kinds of stuff. So I have a mic, but check these things ahead of time. You don't want a judge saying, I'm sorry, can you speak up? I'm sorry, can you speak? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. I'm sorry, can you sit closer to your computer? That is not where your head needs to be, right? Cut these out ahead of time. Now, tell you what, I talk about attire. Wear the same clothes. Whether you were walking into court or whether you're sitting at home at your normal old dining room table, in front of your computer, on a stack of books, wear the same clothes that would make you feel the way you would want to feel, say the things you'd want to say in appearance. No jammies on the bottom. I know there's a million jokes. I know we all did it during COVID. But I did not do it during COVID for important things. I might have done it for my everyday sort of talks, meetings, client conferences and that. But anything that was with the court, for the court, settlement conferences, with a guardian ad litem, a child's attorney, opposing counsel, no jammy bottoms. It changes kind of the context that you're showing up in. This is not nothing. This is a system. I think that every one of my clients has said, I want to do the best I can. I want to bring my best case. I want to do the best job. I want to do, and it's like, we can do that. And lots of that is I dotting and T crossing and gathering of documents and discovery and organization and evidence and yada, yada, blah, blah. But the biggest thing within their control to do is all of this. All of this. I am so much better at my job when my clients are coming really well resourced. And I know that's hard. I know that I'm making an ask on them at the most challenging times of their life. But the really cool part is one, they feel better. Two, they feel like more of a participant in the whole process because they are responsible for bringing their whole resourced, focused, prepared self. They hear more, they see more, they feel left out of the process, and they remember more. And then they take it elsewhere. One of my favorite stories is I had a client who got him all ready for a hearing and what to say, what not to say, what he was going to wear and all this. And it was like the day before. These were frequent flyers. They've been to a ton of hearings. They have a teen who's having some really tough times. He'd been to the court of a lot, but he really got prepared for this, and he went in, and I saw him a couple days later, and he was super excited, and I was like, what? How was the hearing? And he's like, it was great. It was great. He showed up different. Mom was somehow different, like unprecedented, like kind of chill, and there weren't the acrimony going on. They were actually focused, on kid issue, and the judge was amazing. It all just went different, and it all felt different, and they actually got a really good outcome and some really good approaches, and it felt like, it was a team at work. Well, then he was even more excited because he was like, yeah, but the next day I went to work and I did the same things, and it was so awesome. It was, fluid and effective, and people were productive, and it was so cool with the team to the point that somebody was like, dude, what's up with you? Like in a really good way. These are transferable tools. You can use these anywhere that you need to find some comfort level in a situation that's important, because that's when our nerves get jacked up, right? And you can do this, and it habituates, right? You put yourself through the steps, and it habituates, and you will not leave home without it once you figure out how much better it feels. Does this guarantee an outcome for your case? Well, heck no. I mean, nothing does. No one can. I mean, we attorneys, we'd love to have a magic wand and a crystal ball and all that stuff, but we don't. No one does. But the one thing that I know, and that my clients have proved to me over and over and over, and that I've proved to myself by using the tools, is that we can bring more of ourselves. We can feel better about the process. We can take control and empowerment of the things within our purview, and those are the things right here. Not the things out there, but we got to bring our best. That's how we show up with our utmost. That is when you are your best case. Because there's going to be so many things you can't control, but this you very, very much can. So, I'm going to, I believe we'll drop a link below to a PDF, and it's just a 3-page little workbook of checklists. So day before, day of, and then setting up your own space. There's extra lines. Figure out what works for you, right? Try out things, write them into the lines, and keep it, and make copies of it, and use it for each proceeding or meeting or whatever's a kind of stressful situation. When you prepare yourself like that, one, it feels pretty mechanical at first. Okay, do this. Okay, do this. But after a while, you fall in the groove. And at first, just see how many you can do. It doesn't mean you have to do every single one necessarily, but find some things to do and then find some more the next time. And that's how you'll put your best foot forward and bring your A game every time, but it takes planning and it takes action. Okay, so presence is powerful and credibility is currency. So capitalize on the power of credibility because you've got this. All right. And I would love if you try some of these and comment below, or if you have additional questions about any of them, or if I skip something you feel like should be in there, comment below. Let me know. Try them out. Let me know what you think. I wish you the best. And I know that it feels like these things will go on forever, but they are finite. You will get to the other side. And I know that if you do this stuff, you will walk away, and that no matter what the outcome of your case is, at least in these respects, there will be a net gain in the personal development, the self-regulation department. You might even learn some stuff about yourself. So more self-aware clients seem to take in more information. It's a freer flowing trafficking of information. And that feels better to our systems. So give your circuitry and your chemistry a leg up and give this stuff a shot. And see you next week for K-Man's Corner. I think next week what we're going to do is we're going to overhaul some vocabulary. So you're going to be bringing your A game, but we're going to have a bunch of don't say this and a whole bunch of alternatives and a whole bunch of reasons why. And that's going to make you feel better too. So this is all about supporting the path. It's going to be bumpy. Sometimes it just has to get worse before it gets better. But when you're taking care of yourself, you're bringing your best. So don't leave your utmost on the table. Take care.